get our little acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we're going to be reviewing the all-new Camaro LT1, aka the affordable V8 Camaro. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larch Miller Chevy here in Murray, Utah for giving me some time with this Camaro. I'm going to put a link to their inventory in the description down below so you guys can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions whatsoever, just ask for Nick or Gage and they'll be more than happy to help you out. And by the way, the Chevy in Murray does not charge any sort of markups over MSRP on any of their product, including C8 Corvettes, for example. So if you want a great deal on a new Chevy, again, Nick or Gage. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 455 horsepower and then 455 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end of the LT1, I do want to mention that if you want to see more reviews just like this, then I recommend that you subscribe because I post content every single day on a large variety of different cars. So again, hit that subscribe button now. Going over the front end, you guys can see here, we actually have these little decals, but because this car is all blacked out, you can't really see them all that much. We do have the venting here in the center as well, which is really cool. And then we have the new style headlights here for the Camaro. You guys can see the daytime running light kind of bleeds there into the center portion. And then we have our RS logo here. And then notice with the Chevy bow tie how it's all blacked out and then the rest of the grill's all blacked out. And you know, from a front end perspective, looks pretty sinister. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 245/40/20 in the front and over in the rear as well. And you guys can see the wheels are all blacked out, which fits perfectly with this particular car. And we actually get Brembo brakes with this package. And when you guys see the total MSRP, you're gonna be shocked that this has as much performance goodies as it has. We have our LT1 badge that's also blacked out, which is pretty cool, aside from the one, obviously. And then if we take a few steps back, here's your full side view on the car. So here's our key fob for this Camaro. You guys can see a Chevy bow tie there on the back. We have our unlock, lock function, remote start, and then the opening here for the trunk. Now, the trunk of the Camaro, it's got some downsides and some upsides. So downside, the opening is not very large, but upside, once you're inside, it's actually pretty massive. It's one of the benefits of these muscle cars is they're, you know, pretty dang big. And then when you're all done, just plop that down. Now, going over the rest of the rear here, you guys can see we've got this low profile spoiler here on the back, and I want to show you guys what the taillights look like while it's on. So we're going to remote start it. Man, you gotta love that exhaust. But you guys can see what the taillights look like. Blacked out Chevy bow tie. And then here's a quick look at the exhaust tips. We'll have an exhaust clip a little bit later, and then there's another RS badge here on the back as well. And then if you actually hold down the remote start switch again, then it actually shuts it right off. Now, popping inside, you guys got to remember this is supposed to be like an affordable package, so you do have a lot of like hard touch plastic everywhere, but you actually get some padding where you're going to rest your arm, which is great. Windows are automatic. You got a little button to open up the trunk. Bose sound system. And here's a quick look at the mirrors. And then moving the seat back, you guys can see the rear seats here for the Camaro. So they are cloth, and they've got this kind of like interesting kind of like gray cloth there on either side, which is cool. Now, headroom, very cramped. Legroom, very cramped. It's just like a muscle car thing. Got some storage space there. And then going to the front seat, again, you can see with the cloth, and then you got like the gray inserts on the seat, and then you guys can see here down below. Padding's actually pretty solid, and they're actually power adjustable. That's surprising. Here's the pedal layout down below. Steering wheel's manually adjustable, and let's pop in. So here's your steering wheel for the LT1. You guys can see we actually have some nice leather trim all around, and then you got the contrasted stitching on the center portion. We've got our volume controls and then buttons for the favorites that you have set with the car. And then we got cruise control. We have controls for center stack, voice command, phone controls, paddle shifters for that 10-speed automatic. Got our turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Now the gauge cluster itself is pretty simple. You do have analog gauges all around, and you can scroll through some different menus here in the center stack to see different bits of info on the car. Now, obviously, fuel economy is not going to be super accurate on this car yet. But anyways, there's that part of the center. We do have some different drive modes. So we've got a touring, a sport, and then a snow and ice. And actually, I want to hear if it... yeah, it gets quieter when you pop it into touring mode. It closes the valves with the exhaust. So here's the infotainment system. Sorry about it being so dim. The lights automatically turned on. And so, yeah, now it's like this. It's because of the shadow of the car. That's funny. Anyways, you got a backup camera with trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel. Kind of hard to see them because of the glare on the screen, but trust me, they're there. Infotainment screen has great response time. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got Android Auto. Shortcut bar there at the bottom, and then you've got these physical buttons down below, and there you go. Now, guess what? We've got our climate control. So this controls the temperature on the one side, spinning that, and this is for the fan speed on the other side. So pretty cool that you actually use like the vents themselves, and yeah, just a neat little trick. And then here's the shifter, which actually looks pretty dang nice. You can see with the stitching and all that. Got our stability control here, drive mode select, parking brake, and then you got a little 12 volt, couple cup holders, and then here's the center console, by the way. Look at the nice stitching and padding there, and you can see on the dash as well. And then here's a quick look at the glove box. And then last but not least, we just have a black headliner. We do have a manual mirror dimmer though. Can't forget about that. So first off, we have our 3-year 36,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty, 5-year 60,000 mile on the powertrain. And look at some of the stuff that this comes with. So performance suspension, yeah, limited slip differential, which is great. Again, we've got the Brembo brakes. You guys can see 4-piston front, which, yeah, just again, nice performance stuff as standard. Base MSRP is only $34,000. Again, remember, V8 Camaro with Brembo brakes and a limited slip differential. Like, that's plenty. This one has stuff added to it like the RS package, 10-speed automatic, and the dual exhaust mode and some other stuff. After all options on this particular car, total MSRP is $41,145, which considering today's market, that is super, super reasonable. Let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here. Here's your visibility over the hood. Both of the mirrors. I don't know why this radio keeps turning on. It's a Chevy thing. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. We are setting off here in the LT1, and I'll mention this in all of my Camaro videos that I'm filming today because the road's getting reworked. I'm going to be going slow over this first portion because, again, the road's like completely torn up. And then we'll go onto a paved road a little bit later, and then we'll be able to get a little bit more fun driving. But first off, I'm driving this back-to-back with the ZL1, which I feel like isn't fair because it's like the ZL1 compared to this car, like spec, like price to price, it's like twice as much money. So yeah, not exactly the most fair back-to-back driving, but I'll at least be able to tell you guys, hey, is the ZL1 worth paying twice as much, right? From an MSRP perspective. First off, from a ride quality perspective, it's actually really smooth. I'm surprised. The ZL1 has that magnetic ride control, which helps out quite a bit because it's scanning the road, constantly adjusting. This doesn't, right? And it's still smooth from a suspension standpoint. It just shows you like how important a platform is. Like, you know, all this advanced suspension trickery and everything we have nowadays, it's important, but like just having a solid platform like what this Camaro has, it's important. It's definitely important. Other stuff, it's actually noisier than the ZL1. That's interesting. Like the exhaust is quieter. Or actually, maybe the exhaust in the ZL1 was so loud that I didn't notice the road noise. That's definitely a possibility, because that exhaust in that thing was crazy. But overall, I mean, from a ride quality perspective, it's smooth. And I guess that you have to get an exhaust in this too, so that you don't have to hear the road noise as much. I got the gas light on, so let's make sure that, oh, we're fine. We're fine. We got enough range. Okay, now we are on a real road. It is not completely torn up. And yeah, ride quality is still really solid. When you go over bumps, I mean, just like most cars, you feel it, right? Seems like unless you're in like a, you know, big pickup truck with crazy aggressive shocks like a Raptor or something, you're always gonna feel, yeah, bumps like that, like going over manhole covers and everything. Seat comfort's actually really good with this as well. And the one thing I will say that kind of bothers me about Camaros, I've noticed, is like with the adjustment, this is like I'm as lean back as I can, and the seat's still pretty upright. I'm not sure why they make it so that you can't like lean the seat back super far. Well, actually, let's feel for the back. No, there's space between me and the back seat. So like it's weird that I can't lean the seat back farther because I've got space. Going over the good old famous train tracks here. Boom. You can get her a little acceleration. That sounds good. Ooh, we got some pops. Ooh, listen to that. That's so fun. You know what's sad is that ZL1 with that aftermarket exhaust sounded so crazy that even though this sounds amazing, I'm like, meh, it's whatever. It just shows you what an aftermarket exhaust can do, but this is still, I mean, the transmission is just super snappy. I just realized I don't have the mirror adjusted properly. But yeah, the transmission, super snappy. And something's cool about the 10-speed auto is if you just hold down the minus paddle, it'll go into the lowest possible gear that it can go down to. I love the upshift, like, it's so aggressive with this 10-speed auto. It's just, you guys heard it, it's just bangs off. I'll do that one more time and then we'll sum things up. That sounds so good. That is such a beautiful sound. Probably gonna get lots of hate in the comments for my accelerations. But anyways, gotta test out the cars for you guys. Summing things up, sounds amazing. I think this looks really cool too. Like, this is a really, really cool looking car. And obviously base interior, but I mean, we have a touchscreen, we have a backup camera, we've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, we've got climate controls. Like, it has everything that you'd need to daily drive this, frankly. Like, that is not a problem whatsoever. The handling's so good in the Camaros. I forgot how good the handling is with this. But yeah, I mean, this is a really good value in today's market. I mean, you can't really, I mean, look at Ford Mustang GT. I mean, I guess you can technically get those at a lower price point, but it doesn't seem like Ford dealers ever, it seems like Ford dealers only order, you know, $50,000, $60,000 Mustang GTs. And same thing with Dodge dealers. It seems like they only order, you know, $50,000, $60,000 Challengers, Scat Packs. So yeah, I mean, this is just, it makes it like shows that this is such a good value. It seriously is. And so yeah, if you want a, you know, V8 that's an absolute blast to drive, that looks really cool and is actually affordable, this LT1 provides that. That's gonna sum things up with our video on this LT1. Let me know what you guys think about this package. And with that being said, again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Chevy here in Murray for giving me some time with this car. If you have any questions whatsoever, just ask for Nick and Gage. I'll see ya.